It's time for the main event. It's the Shoe Shine.
No, they want to see me doing bad, but I'm good.
¿Qué onda, vatos locos? Damas y caballeros, it's your boy Dave in the 702 coming back at you for that Monday boxing recap known as the Shoe Shine. Joining me all the way from the city of brotherly love, Philly Irish, True Evo. ¿Qué pasa, homeboy?
What's up, Dave?
Good to see you as always. Now, man, your city was in the limelight. Speaking of boxing, this weekend was a huge weekend. The second show for Philadelphia, why am I going to say Los Angeles? Philadelphia's biggest boxing star. I'm talking about Boots Ennis. Saludos to everybody joining us right now live in the chat. Appreciate you. Shout out to Wiley Coyote, Jimenez Video Production, Sonteo Media. Shout out to everybody joining us. Don't forget to hit that like button as you come in because it's so important. Drew, big weekend for boxing last weekend. And another one coming up this weekend with fights back-to-back, Friday and Saturday. For a boxing fan like me, it's a great excuse to stay home and do nothing on Friday and Saturday night, although I have to convince my wife to stay home 2 nights in a row because we got Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. Not going to believe this, but they are showing the fight at the Silverton Casino, which I just did a vlog on that. Right down the street from me, they're showing a fight party for Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul for free. Shout out to the Silverton. Saturday night, Riyadh season Latino night brought to you by Golden Boy Promotions. And I don't even know. Is that a daytime fight? Do you know anything about that? The Saturday card in Saudi Arabia?
Probably daytime.
Yeah, with a huge, if anybody knows what time, Sonteo, if you know what time the Saturday card starts in Saudi Arabia, I'm imagining the Golden Boy card is going to be early. It's star-studded. Unification Cruiserweight, Zurdo Ramirez versus Chris Billiam Smith of the UK. Unification for Cruiserweight, Drew. Then, of course, Friday, there's a bunch of good fights on that. Shockingly, Mario Barrios out of Las Vegas, formerly of Texas. He's on the card with Team 408. And shout out to Bob Santos. They're on the card. The rematch, Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor 2. Highest paid women's fight in the history of women's boxing. Who else is on that? Lucas Body, who we had on our show, interviewed him during the pandemic. He has a replacement fighter. He may be in contention for best KO of the year on when he knocked out that guy at H2O. He got another call, a fight on a big Netflix. Did you realize that shit is free on Netflix? Are you guys excited? Jimenez, you can watch this fight so long as you got Netflix. There is no excuse for you not to watch Mike Tyson's 58-year-old. What did he say? Mike Tyson, old AF. Drew, let me put up a picture of Mike Tyson's body. Let me listen real quick. He might be 58 years old, guys, but he looks solid. He's pretty damn strong. Drew, let me just start with you. Of all the stuff going on this weekend, are you excited about any of these fights?
Not really, but I'll watch it.
There you have it for my co-host. Not really, but I'll watch it. So Dale Media says, if Mike Tyson get it done inside of 2 rounds, Jake Paul is going to hurt him. And that's why this fight is actually, guys, so you know, it's 2-minute rounds. That's part of the new rules and also the gloves have been increased in density. I think they're 14 ounces, right? I think Mike Tyson stands a good chance in the first 3 rounds. If he can be a 6-minute fighter, it's going to be a lot like women's championship boxing that are just 2-minute rounds as well. Wiley Coyote also says, I'll be watching the UFC instead of that circus show. Drew shaking his head. Drew, will you watch the UFC later in the night if the Latino night on Saturday is early? The Riyadh season card? I think it's going to be early.
Probably not.
Yeah. All right, guys, there's a lot to talk about. A lot of good stuff happened over the weekend. 2 homecoming fights. One in your backyard, Drew. Philadelphia, of course. Keyshawn Davis put on his first card with his whole brothers for ESPN on Friday night. Keyshawn Davis, the lightweight contender, making a strong case to be number 1 now against Darren Sparenchek for a potential championship fight. Makes easy work of Argentinians Limos. Guys, I'm not gonna call out the YouTuber by name because he's actually a pretty big industry professional. But he had the nerve on social media on X to respond to me. Now, Lemos came in grossly overweight. You guys saw that he came grossly overweight on Thursday, right? 6.5 pounds over the weight. And Lemos is the guy that gave Richardson Hitchens a tremendous fight in Las Vegas earlier in the year at the brand new casino, too. It was the first fight there. Drew, we were supposed to go to that fight at the Fontainebleau. Lemos looked fantastic in that fight. A natural 140-pound fighter asked to come down to 135 to face Keyshawn Davis on ESPN. He comes in, 6.5 pounds? Somehow, this content creator got it twisted because I posted in a response to on his thread that there's been a lot of fighters that have done this exact thing and walked away with the W. Most famously, Orlando Salido gave Lomachenko his first professional boxing loss, when he did the same maneuver, came in grossly overweight, said, fuck the scale. I'm coming in with an advantage. Ryan Garcia, one of boxing's biggest stars, just recently did it in a championship fight, said, I'm not fucking making weight. How much I got to pay you? And Lemos was fined pretty heavily for that out of his purse. And Ryan Garcia walked away with the W, destroyed the image. And you could see where Lemos, who did not get the nod against Richard Hitchinson, he didn't get the nod in that great fight. You could see potentially that he did this intentionally. In no way was I advocating for Lemos that it's an excuse, or advocating that fighters miss weight professionally on scales. When you sign that fucking contract, you sign the contract. No way was I saying that. So I don't see how this content creator got it twisted and came back at me sideways. Which I came back right at him sideways too. Exactly. So if he fucking blocked me, he fucking blocked me. When I fucking make it in this industry, I'll see you there too. And I'll remind you,
douchebag.
And I'll remind you of that interaction, or not. We'll see. It all remains to be seen, right? Like I said, no damn way was I advocating Lemos came in at overweight, but Drew, it didn't help the guy one bit. Keyshawn Davis bust up. Let me see if this will play here, guys. If you didn't catch this knockout, it didn't matter. 2 pounds or whatever, 6.5 pound weight advantage. It didn't matter one bit. Come on, play video. Because, the video's not going to play.
You know what, Dave? You need to tell me the dude's names, because you don't gotta say it.
I ain't gonna say it.
I'm gonna call him a fucking douchebag.
It's all good, Drew. It's all good. I won't say it because it's just the beginning of many potential interactions with people as we get more noticed on the boxing industry world. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. The point is, Keyshawn Davis at home beat the crap out of this Argentinian fighter that I was just about to go put money on because I had seen how well he did. And he said, fuck the scale. But remember, guys, this fight had a 10-pound rehydration clause. So he actually came in. The fight was signed up for 135. It's like an elimination match. Comes in 6.5 pounds. Was only allowed to gain 10 pounds, or the fight really would have been called off by the Virginia State Athletic Commission. He was only able to add, 3 pounds. He weighed 144.6 on fight night. So he didn't lose the weight, but he wasn't allowed to gain any back. So I don't know. He might have just been dehydrated. He literally might have just still been dehydrated. All this shit, missing weight, losing money on the purse. You still got your ass beat in 2.5 rounds. It was rather embarrassing, an embarrassing stoppage. So if you guys got to watch that Keyshawn Davis performance on ESPN, let me know which grade you give him. I have to give the guy a straight up A, an A+. I just talked about the performance, the lightweight contender. We just saw him in Las Vegas just a week ago. Young kid, Floyd Schofield. He got a pretty bad grade from a lot of insiders, including Oscar, C-. I got to give Keyshawn Davis an A+, even though the dude ripped us off on that Twitch Sports thing. Making easy work, Drew. All right, let's talk about it. Let's talk about this lightweight division. There's a guy in the lightweight division signed to Eddie Hearn, who is the gold medalist, who's beat him 4 times. And his name's Andy Cruz. I know you guys know who he is, and if you don't, he's the Cuban gold medalist who's beaten Keyshawn Davis as amateurs 4 times. Keyshawn Davis, he got a message from Andy Cruz this week. They've been going back at it. He says, I'm 4-0 in the pros, and I'm 4-0 versus my son. Knock, knock. Damn.
Wow.
Shout out to the fight doctor. Drew, Keyshawn Davis has been looking great. He's got 11 now. He's now 11-0, 8 KOs. I've seen him fight in person. The fact of the matter is that across the street on the other side, on DAZN, Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing, you got a guy who's beat you every time you've been in the ring with him. He took the gold medal from you. I do believe we asked him if he intended to fight him, and he said that, in the pro games, it was going to be all different. He was going to finally taste his power, that Andy Cruz was going to taste Keyshawn Davis's power. Do you see this fight ever happening, or is it only going to be on Keyshawn Davis's terms, on Bob Arum's terms, when and if Keyshawn Davis gets a title at 135? Now, he is approaching to be first in line to fight Baranchek, I believe the WBO belt holder, if I'm correct. So it could very well be a young Keyshawn Davis defeats an older Ukrainian fighter in Baranchek, well into his mid-30s. Will we ever see this fight, Keyshawn Davis versus Andy Cruz in the pros?
It's really a big if. Like, I really think if you look at it, I don't even think Top Rank can even match him up with Lomachenko. I don't think Top Rank has that much confidence in Keyshawn to beat somebody.
Really?
I don't think so, because here's the thing. I think if they did, I think they would have talked about matching him up with Lomachenko. And I don't think they would. I think Top Rank has it like, I'm not gonna match him up with no one that will beat him. And Loma's a guy that will beat him. Loma, it matters on how bad Loma will beat him, but Loma beats Keyshawn Davis, and it might be one-sided. And like Andy Cruz is on that type of time that he might be easy pickings for Andy Cruz. So we gotta look at it as in, like, if we look at these two, the favorite's Andy Cruz. Because Keyshawn, if we're gonna be 100 with this, Keyshawn's only fought guys that are willing to bang with him, that are willing to come after him, go forward and everything. Keyshawn doesn't really have to, as they say, think about what he's going to do next with a boxer, So it tells you that why hasn't Top Rank matched him up with any pro boxer? Any, pure boxer. That's your thing. It might be a bad weakness for Keyshawn right now. And we're all going to see as the development goes along. He's not ready for Andy Cruz. And him calling out Gervonta Tank Davis is just trying to get more exposure.
Well, there's a long list of people calling out Tank Davis, and none of them are going to be so lucky as to get a shot at fighting him anytime soon. Drew stepped away really quickly. Right now, we're talking about phenomenal performance by Keyshawn Davis, ESPN's lightweight contender, now probably first in line, like I said, to fight one of their champs, Baranchek. So I give him an A. I got to give him his flowers and praise. He looked fantastic in defeating Lemos, a guy who, with people coming in overweight, grossly overweight now, Devin Haney learning a valuable lesson about allowing just a 3-pound heavier Ryan Garcia. I got to give Keyshawn Davis credit for not saying screw the fight. This is a hometown fight. Lemos obviously must have taken that into account. The pressure for Keyshawn Davis not to refund all these seats, not to call off the fight, but it didn't matter. Skill set wise, Lemos wasn't even in the same building as far as Keyshawn Davis' skill set. The fact of the matter is this division is deeply, deeply talented. You've got young prospects / contenders like Floyd Schofield knocking on the door of greatness. You've got even Fernando out of Las Vegas, his son, Emiliano Vargas, even him getting into it with Abdullah Mason, another hot young prospect from ESPN. The list goes on and on of young kids that are potential future contenders. Put them on the line. They're talking about championship fights already at that level. And then you've got the guys just knocking on the door of greatness. And we're going to see somebody who's knocking on the door of greatness this weekend, guys, because William Zepeda, Oscar De La Hoya's number one lightweight contender, number one in every sanctioning body. He returns to the ring this Saturday on Latino Night Riyadh season. And he will be facing Tevin Farmer, a former world champion at 130 pounds, who recently, I thought, gave Raymond Murataya, also of ESPN, another lightweight contender knocking on the door of greatness. The list goes on and on of hungry fighters that look fantastic that could potentially be future champions. I don't see how you unify this division right now. Devin Haney came damn close to doing it, the 4 belts. Would Gervonta Tank Davis line up all these great contenders? I mean, right now he's looking at facing Lamont Roach, a 130-pound champion, bringing him up in weight. Can Tank Davis wipe out the entire lightweight division? I mean, not just the champions currently there to unify those, but all the contenders from William Zepeda, Andy Cruz, Keyshawn Davis, Abdullah Mason, Floyd Schofield, Emiliano Vargas someday. This is a deep, riveting division, the lightweight division. So I give all praise to Keyshawn Davis, who did his thing in Virginia and in front of his hometown crowd. Pastor Jeremiah, shout out to you. He says Tank Davis, Duck, Tio, and Shakur. Those are the part of the 4 kings that, that was a narrative just a couple years ago. Tank, Tio, Shakur. Although, was Shakur on that list originally? Yeah, and I just failed to mention Shakur. I mean, I got to give him his praise. He's no longer with Top Rank, but that's another guy. We're all awaiting to whether or not Lomachenko, who holds one of the titles, is officially retiring or not. Just one of the best divisions there is in all of boxing. Guys, this is going to bring me to Philadelphia on Saturday night as Drew comes back here to the stage. Drew, a very electric night. I got to give props to both fighters, man. Philadelphia's Boots Ennis packing the house in Philadelphia. Keyshawn Davis selling well over 10,000 seats at home. That was pretty remarkable right there in itself, Drew. But let's talk about Boots Ennis teaming up with Bam Rodriguez, the 115-pound champion phenom, top pound-for-pound fighter in Bam Rodriguez as the co-main event. Also featured Raymond Ford, the former featherweight champion, who said, I'm leaving the belt. I'm giving up the belt. He was offered big money by Riyadh season, Turki Al-Sheikh, to fight Nick Ball, who is now looking like... Nick Ball's looking like the wrecking machine as a champion at featherweight. Loses his title at featherweight. He could not turn down the money. Makes his debut at 130 pounds. Looked explosive. Looked even faster than he did at featherweight. A very close loss to Nick Ball. And I'm starting to wonder, how high is Raymond Ford's ceiling at 130? Will he be in the conversations about, fighting Oshaki Foster, fighting Lamont Roach? I think so. I think the answer to that question is hell yeah. He's looking like he is a former champion at featherweight, 126. And at 130, he wasn't able to knock out his opponent, Drew, but man, he looks pretty damn good for a New Jersey fighter going over to your part of the, neck of the woods over here in Philadelphia. What did you think about that? Do you see Raymond Ford in action?
Yeah, like, him knocking Melbo is a good showing. Like, if we look at the landscape of 130, Navarrete, Valdez, Shaki Foster, Lamont Roach, the other fights he's going to have to want at the end.
Yeah, he's looking like he'd be competitive. Of course, I think Oshaki Foster is in line to fight the winner of the Valdez-Navarrete fight coming up.
But I don't know what. It's only he just got up there and everything. People are gonna be locked up. Like, so we're gonna probably see him in more build-up fights going forward for the time being until he becomes a mandatory and everything. But I've seen crazier things happen.
Shout out to my homeboy Card Shop Reality. Join us. He says, thumbs up to Dave. Cheers to the chat. Appreciate you, Card Shop Reality. So Raymond Ford was in performance, but let's get to the co-main event because, oh man, he is a pound-for-pound young fighter, 24 years old, already a champion at 112, now trying to unify at 115. This fighter, but shout out to Bam Rodriguez who went to Philadelphia. Drew, he fought Pedro Guevara, a Mexican fighter, and Bam's a Chicano kid. Pedro Guevara had never been knocked out in his life. And to go, just 2 rounds? A lot of these fights ended early. Bam makes easy work out of him, destroys this guy. Like I said, Guevara had never, ever been knocked out. Let's look at the tail of the tape here. I think I got it here. 20-0 coming into the fight. 42-4-1, a Mexican fighter with a ton of experience. I think he fights out of Mexico City. He just got destroyed. He got his ass whooped.
Wow. Can I say?
Well, I'd like to know, Drew. Let's ask Drew. Let's scratch your head. 115, he's looking to unify. He's not talking about fighting Nagatani, the great Japanese fighter, at 118. That is the biggest fight. And obviously, Inoue, a dream fight for him. That's at 122. Inoue could be moving up to 126. Inoue could be fighting Nagatani immediately after Nagatani fights. That looks like it's a very real possibility. So basically, he's going to stay around 115 and try to pick off some unifications. And he wants this fight with Martinez. I'm talking about Martinez of Argentina, a champion who's fought on PBC. He's a guy I like to watch a lot, man. He has crazy hair. He's got flair. He's been kind of an underdog, and yet he's come away victorious. I'm talking about Martinez of Argentina. Let me show you guys his picture because people are talking about let's make this fight ASAP. ASAP. Where is that picture? They're also talking about this potential fight, Drew. Jesse Bam Rodriguez versus Chocolatito Roman Gonzalez of Nicaragua, 52-4. And there are people starting to say, well, wait a minute. Bam's been knocking out all these legends. These legends are getting up there. I mean, are any of these legends under 30 that he's knocking out? Yeah, it's an impressive run, but Chocolatito's looking a little bit over the hill in this picture.
Oh, man.
These people on Twitter, man, I'm telling you, these people on X are pretty damn funny. But what about that? Let's talk. Let me ask you, man, is there anything to Bam's success in this division at 112 and 115? He's knocked out, some former greats, even Mexican champions, Thai champions. Now he has an opportunity to fight a young champion in El Puma Martinez of Argentina in a unification, a guy that I think is going to do exceptionally better than Sonny Edwards. Sonny Edwards is not an old fighter. But what about that, man? That all the people he's beating up are kind of old. You got anything to say about that?
I get called a hater. So, you're a Bam hater. But, I don't want to see him fight El Gallo again. I don't want to see him fight Chocolatito. The only fight I wouldn't mind seeing Bam is Nagatani.
Yeah, naturally. When he's ready, and Nakatani's huge, guys. If Nagatani may escape him as well, he may move up to 118 to fight Nagatani. Nagatani's like, bro, I'm at 122. So it was great to see Bam Rodriguez get an early stoppage. He looked fantastic in Philadelphia, potentially picking up a new fan base on the East Coast. People appreciated that type of performance. Raymond Ford was not able to knock anybody out, so it was a welcome co-main event that ended rather quickly. And I hope to see him unify, and that's exactly who I want to see him fight. Is young El Puma Martinez next, and then I guess in the early or mid part of 2025, we can start talking about some legacy fights for young Bam Rodriguez, man. Yeah. Beast says he's ready. Shout out to Beast for joining us. He said he's ready for Nagatani. It's a great fight. He says he's ready for Inoue. But you got to be willing to move up and wait. You got to signal to your promoter. You got to signal to your management team that, hey, make this fight happen. I don't give a shit. I'm ready for it. Screw unification. Let's make this fight happen. It does not look like we're going to get that immediately. And that may not be a bad thing because that just gives Bam even more seasoning when he gets to that levels that he can walk away a winner in this. Now, Drew, last weekend I went to the casino fight. I went to the Virgin Hotel here at Las Vegas, and I got to see Floyd Schofield fight, a young contender at 135. He got a C- from Oscar De La Hoya. People are talking there's a lot of criticism against your boy Boots Ennis going the distance in a rematch with Karen. I'm going to screw his name. It's Chuksazian. Again, in the rematch. And we talked about it last Monday that you needed to see an even better performance. But the better performance in my eyes and to the eyes of most came from Karen, the Ukrainian fighter, who I never seen anybody land that many punches on Boots. Is Boots getting worse defensively? Did Karen show up to fight? What is going on? Because now all of a sudden, I don't want to offend you or offend any Philly fans, but the high praises I had for Boots, I'm starting to wonder if he gets past Stanionis at 147, another champion. I think he gets passed by Barrios, maybe even stops Barrios. But I'm worried about fighters like Stanionis that can box, because I feel like he gets hit too much.
I think it was a combination of the dude came to win, and Boots trying to be too entertaining.
All right. I'm gonna give you that right there, Drew. Because with Floyd Schofield, I'm gonna give the same energy, keep the same energy I did for Floyd Schofield, who in his defense, I was sitting next to his mama. He really was trying to put on a show, and you were absolutely right. He had the pressure of fighting in his hometown. You got a come-forward fighter who was taking his best shots. I did not appreciate Boots Ennis' dad's advice in the corner. I thought it was awful, just saying, get him out of there. Get him out of there. I mean, come on, put some constructive actual adjustment plans.
Yeah, that's something else, too. Like, you got to look at, get him out of there. But here's the thing. You tell him what to do to get him out of there. And I think it was a combination of, Karen being more coming, trying to win the fight and everything. And the dude wasn't no slouch.
No, he's not. I'll be real with you. He didn't look that bad either. He's the only guy in recent memory going the distance. And he actually showed some really good skill set on Saturday night. I'm talking about Karen.
Yeah. So if we look at it like this, he tried to be too entertaining to the crowd instead of just being who he is. I'll box somebody and eventually go for the stop him.
You mean break him down?
Everything.
Break him down, which was the same criticism.
I think that he got away from that this fight. But to use it as a negative to him, like, he has flaws. Like, everybody really has a bad night, like, at their hometown. Like, they try to be too entertaining and they get hit a lot and everything. Does he really need to be better when he fights like these other guys? Yes, he does. Will he be better? Yeah, he will. I think he'll rise to the occasion. But I think now, if we are going to look at it like this, he's moving up. Because let's put it out there now. People hate on the dude, call him email champion, but who the fuck isn't an email champion in boxing nowadays? Like, I think the term of email champion gets overused because a lot of people now is an email champion. And if we look at it, every champion 147 doesn't want to fight him. So he's making the right decision saying, I'm moving up to 154 because nobody at 147 wants to fight him.
Yeah, I'll remind everybody that Brian Norman turned down a record $1.7 million purse to fight him in a unification, which now and Brian Norman had sustained an injury that he really fucked up that bag. I mean, I don't know why it seemed like he was intimidated to take that fight for that amount of money. And now in hindsight, he might be kicking himself. I want to say a big shout out to new people joining us. King Diola had a really good comment. He says, Boots is good. He didn't look in shape and it might've been his opponent. He didn't seem motivated enough. Shout out to Nerds joining us. The Fight Doctor says Boots is a KO waiting to happen. Now we're on the subject of Boots moving up, and Eddie Hearn is pushing this Virgil Ortiz fight in-house, a super mega fight, a fight that probably Turki Al-Sheikh is going to get involved in making, and they're actually targeting a February date. And yes, himself, Boots Ennis, has been saying repeatedly he's outgrown welterweight division. All the big fights are at 154. Right in this chat, we got some people saying that he should stay away from 154. And this fight,
for those people don't know what the fuck they're talking
this about. Fight between Virgil Ortiz, I was at that super fight between Virgil Ortiz and Bohacek. It was, in my opinion, the best fight I've ever seen in my life, that I've ever seen physically in my life, was the most electrifying fight I've ever seen in my life. And this is why I think, Drew, that Boots Ennis is not ready for Virgil Ortiz, and definitely not in February. Because, but let me just say why, Drew, and I'll take your opinion. Virgil Ortiz kicked off 2024 at the Virgin Hotel. I was there with Sonteo Media. He went one round, but he got into that fight at 156. He didn't even make 154. Months later, he said, well, shit, that didn't go very long. I need some more rounds to get acclimated. He took another fight that only went 1 or 2 rounds. So I think somewhere around May, again, acclimated to the weight, did not come in at 154. I think he came in at 155, 156, if I recall. And now he's got 2 belts in that weight, in that division. Only a few rounds, 3 rounds maybe at most. We're talking about Boots Ennis moving up in weight without making any adjustments to his body, without getting into the rhythm of that weight class, anything. He just going blindly into that division against someone in Virgil Ortiz who, win the fight against Bohacek, pretty much showed me he's going to take Boots Ennis' best shots and return them. And I just think that Boots Ennis should take a tune-up fight or a stay busy fight at 154 like Virgil Ortiz did. Oscar did the same. Oscar said, I got your best interest, bro. I'm gonna go find some fucking club fighters from Africa. I'm going to find some club fighters from over here. I'm going to make sure that you settle at this weight class. But Boots is going to say, nope. Give me the hardest fight. Give me a hard fight right now, and I don't think it's going to benefit the young man.
I look at it like this, Dave. He's outgrown 147. And the people say stay away from 154, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Because you're talking about people of 140 pounders, but what about the 147 pounders he beat at 147? Legitimate guys. A guy that beat Rashid Speedy Ellis. He knocked him out. And like Vera, that, you know, he knocked him out after he beat Rashid Speedy Ellis. I think he fought at 154 already. So what the fuck was your point?
I did not know that. I was saying I had no idea he's already fought at 154.
Like, come on, Dave. He fought at 154. So what the fuck is some of these people's points here?
Do you think he should just jump right into the Virgil Ortiz fight early February? That's what they're pushing.
I don't think Oscar will want to match him up with Boots right, Virgil with Boots right now. If you look at it, let's look at it like this. Let's look at it like this. If we look at how Virgil was matched up with 2 guys he got in rounds 1 and 2, I'm going to get acclimated. That's bad. Like, tell you the truth. And you see when he fought Bohacek? Sorry, Bohacek won that fight clearly. And, like, it was fucking, like, 115 to 111. That dude got knocked down twice.
Yeah, he did. He did get dropped twice, and he miraculously walked away the winner. I was there. I was kind of befuddled by that announcement, although it was a hell of a fight. All right, this is a quote from Boots Ennis. Quote, he says, "I want to fight the best. I don't want to fight no bottom tier guys. When you fight the best, you're going to do better. All they are doing is adding fuel to the fire for my next performance. That's what I need. That's what I want. The next fight is going to be even better. I ain't even worried about it." All right, that's from him. He's not worried about it. He wants to fight with Virgil Ortiz. He says that they're going to elevate his game.
But you know what, Dave? People will find a reason to hate on Boots Ennis. And, they want to hate on this dude. I don't know why. But, they feel like this dude doesn't belong. The dude belongs where he's at.
I can't put my finger on it, Drew. I really can't figure out where the hate is coming from Boots Ennis. He seems very personable. Maybe it's the fact maybe he's not doing enough media interviews, or just
Do you know why? I'm gonna tell you why. For the Showtime. That's why they see for the Showtime. So they're figuring that, but here's the thing. A lot of fighters out there today are doing the same fucking shit. And I think people rather hate on certain guys and everything. I don't know if it's like tell you the truth. Let's look at it like this. One guy that should have got a lot of hate because he was protected in his career, most of his career. His whole career, actually, until he got the tank. Lito Santa Cruz. Now, a lot of people mention him being protected. And I'll say this right now. To me, Leo Santa Cruz was the most protected Mexican fighter of all time. And tell you the truth, I did not even credit him as one of these high quality Mexican fighters, because the others weren't protected. They went into these big fights, Dave, and when the opportunity aroused itself to get into one of these big fights, Leo Santa Cruz just didn't take it. He took it after Aguilares suffered his first career loss, being knocked out by Johnny Gonzalez. And it's like, that's how it was. But like, people, are going to say, after one really bad subpar performance by Boots, and people do it to other fighters too, we just look at it and say, hey, he's got to come back better. And what happens most of the time, that guy comes back better. And he comes back better and he makes a point. Now, Ken Austin, yeah, he did a little too much showboating, crowd pleasing, instead of just concentrating on winning the fight and making it like he showboat. Boots, on the other hand, for the guy that was coming to win, showboat a little too much, took a lot of shots and everything. Defense got to get better. If you're going to be at 154, your defense guy definitely got to get better. And I believe it will. I believe he's going to get straight to the point. Because now people are going to look at it, and people are going to look at it as a weakness for him. And I think we go to a fight that we don't expect it to be much, that his defense is going to cost him. And probably most likely he impresses people again, and people will be back on the train. That's how it is in boxing all the time.
I'll tell you, a win over Virgil Ortiz, who seems to be destined for a championship title match, at least at 154. A win against Virgil Ortiz would be incredibly impressive. We've got some people in the chat. Shout out to Nerd. He says Bohacek. Let me read this comment. Crawford, Bakram, Virgil, Madrimov, Bohacek, they'll all put paws on Boots. Well, he's an action fighter. I mean, that stands to be probably correct. He's an action fighter. I have to say that about Boots Ennis. The diversity of his attack coming in, to setting up his jabs It isn't really there. He's more kind of like, let's meet in the center of the ring and bang it out. And he's gonna take some punishment at 154. But then again, he's saying he's gonna be even better. The better the opponent, he's gonna get better, or he has those tools, but he chooses not to use them. Like Floyd Schofield, the prior Saturday, I believe he's a good boxer, and I believe he could have outboxed the Mexican kid, but he chose to put on a show, and I think that's what Boots Ennis fell into that trap again in his hometown. Well, that remains to be seen, Drew. It looks like he's not going to stick around and try to unify with the likes of Mario Barrios, Stanionis. I
don't blame him.
If he tried with Brian Norman, and 1.7 million wasn't enough to attract a relatively unknown Brian Norman.
He offered all of them to fight. They offer each and every champion in that division. They offer Barrios 2.5. They offer Stanionis 2.5.
Wow.
He didn't want the money. So why stay at a division that you outgrown already? When none of these champions want to fight, all you're going to do is be put into another IBF mandated fight. And that's the one thing. This is the one thing that I don't like. And everything. I'm still on.
The Fight Doctor says the guy that KO'd Baby Zoo gives Boots some serious problems. Wow, I already forgot that champion's name. What is that guy's name? I mean, he's a beast. Drew walked away. Guys, I already forgot his name. He put in an incredible performance, beat down Zoo in just 2 rounds or three rounds. But yeah, the list of fighters at 154 that are dangerous. Yeah, even I can't keep remembering all their names. Shout out to the Sin City Syndicate. He says, imagine a sport where the talent of a Canelo Alvarez is the gold standard. Wow, that is first class hating on Canelo right there. I mean, yeah, okay, Canelo's not giving us the best fights possible, but he did have a good run, and especially as far as Mexican champions. Drew, you agree with that?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear that? Imagine a sport where the talent of Canelo Alvarez is the gold standard.
I don't know what the hell's wrong with my fucking Skype.
Man, well, we might be switching away from it. We could try something else if it keeps going off. We have another thing we can use on this app.
Well, as long as you can hear me. So
yeah, no, I can hear you perfect, man. So your takeaway from the Boots Ennis fight before we move on to this weekend's fights?
I look at that. Yeah, he has to jab a lot more. It will better for him to jab a lot more to set up his punches, and I just really see that this would probably be Boots' division, the division for him, and we'll see it. And then we'll see if the fight gets made between him and Roger. I'll be honest. I'm really not keen with Oscar lately with promoting. I really think his matchmaking is very questionable.
Well, speaking of, you're talking about Oscar really quickly, guys, before we move on. What's going on between Hearn and Oscar? This is some crazy shit. They're going to really they're entertaining fighting each other. And Eddie Hearn is talking about maybe working with Robert Garcia as his trainer. And apparently Eddie Hearn responded to him, "You need 2 months to train to fight me." Wow, I'm honored.
Matter of fact, Dave, I'm going to jump off the call and then come back in real quick, see if my picture comes back up.
All right. Card Shop Reality, he says, I've made decent money betting on Canelo at 1-3 and 1-5 money line odds over the years. All right, yeah. That's awesome. Golden Girl by KO in 1 round. Does Eddie Hearn have any fight experience? I mean, I know that Dana White has some amateur boxing in his background. He used to even teach boxing at a gym before becoming the UFC guy. So Drew's coming back, guys. Tons of fight parties. I was just telling Card Shop Reality in the chat that as I was driving by the Silverton Casino, on their digital display, their big billboard, they said, come watch the Mike Tyson fight this Friday night free. And they got all kinds of specials. And I'm pretty sure South Point Casino, also down the street from me, is probably going to do something really cool. This is like great opportunity for me to get out and watch it with fellow fight fans. But you know what? When you got 85-inch TVs everywhere in your house, Man, I just put it on. It's on Netflix, guys. If you don't have Netflix, you can get Netflix for a month for $6 and watch this. And they're estimating that potentially upwards of 20 million people will be watching this card on Friday night. So let's quickly look at the card. Some of you guys might be excited. Now, Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano, a rematch in the making. It's been over 2 or 3 years. I remember I was watching, I came to Las Vegas. I wasn't living in Las Vegas yet. And I came to see, who was it? It was Shakur Stevenson versus Oscar Valdez. And that fight was so boring that I took out my phone and started watching DAZN because Katie Taylor and Serrano were going at it. That was the same night. And everybody behind me was like, yo, he got Katie Taylor and Serrano on his phone. Who's winning? People were more interested in watching Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano than they were watching Shakur Stevenson. Now, Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, obviously, no real bad blood. These women are complete professionals. But Katie Taylor was bragging about her payday. And I have it here somewhere. I think she's making a record in her career, $6 or $7 million. And Amanda Serrano had to clap back with my paycheck is bigger. Also on the card, Mario Barrios. You guys remember him. He once fought Gervonta Tank Davis, now the WBC welterweight champion. I ran into him in Las Vegas. Well, I guess he just had his baby. Shout out to him. He just had his baby. I ran into him with Brian Mendoza, who were just casually came to watch the fight. And he's actually a really cool dude. And he trains with San Jose, where I'm from, with Bob Santos. Bob Santos is his head. Now, Abel Ramos is the uncle of Jesus Ramos Jr., a kid we've interviewed multiple times. Abel Ramos has fought for a world title, I think, 2 times and come up short. Always a guy who's hungry and ready to put in a good fight, but now approaching potentially, I think, his mid-30s. I'm just going to say we've probably seen the best of Abel Ramos. He's going to be a guy who's contended for a world title, but always come up short. Nonetheless, he's probably going to give Mario Barrios a great fight. I don't know much about these other 2 fighters at the bottom of the card. Bruce Carrington of ESPN, of Top Rank, Bruce Carrington found himself on this fight card on Friday night. Bruce Carrington literally just fought, and he was tweeting that he'll be on the DAZN YouTube fight. So there is going to be some YouTube. So Dale Media says Abel for the upset. Really, that would be remarkable for him to come up short all these times and somehow get this championship. Now, Drew's walked away. I don't know. It says it may be that I'm without a co-host. I may be without Drew for the rest of the show. If that's the case, we'll probably do something later this week. You can see he's had some Skype issues here. Skype kicked me off. Let me try to call you, Drew. Hold on, guys, while I call Drew real quick on Skype. Yeah. Skype kicked him off. Sotel Media says call the boss.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Appreciate it.
My picture ain't coming up. This sucks.
No, I can see you. Everybody can see you.
Can.
All right, well, let's get to it, Drew. This Friday night, Mike Tyson, 58 years old, 2 rounds. Everybody drop your prediction right now. Does anybody know the odds? I can't bring up DraftKings real quick. I didn't but does anybody know the odds? Does Mike Tyson, as explosive, as quick as he is, does he still have enough in the tank to take punches? First of all, punch resistance. I think he's explosive enough to put some serious hurt on Jake Paul. And Jake Paul, Drew, he put on a lot of muscle. And, to be honest, in the world of PEDs and the fact that they don't PED test, this fight is in Texas. There's no world title on the line. There's no sanctioning body. This is what Jake Paul is looking like right now. This is a guy who's usually fought at 190. You can see it in his face. He don't look the same. He's bloated. I mean, I probably flabbier around the waistline if I take my shirt off, but for Jake Paul, he's looking pretty soft around the midsection here, as just a couple of days away from this fight. On Mike Tyson, I'm targeting his abs. I'm breaking him down to the stomach and setting him up for that explosive uppercut Mike Tyson was known for.
I hope this happens. Mike Tyson knocks out Jake Paul.
And you can bet on it. That's the thing. This is a sanctioned fight. It's going to go on Mike Tyson's professional record. It's going to go on Jake Paul's record. Jake Paul's making, what is it, 20 million? Is it 20 million that he's making? It's absurd. He is the highest paid, one of the highest paid fighters in the world. Second, probably only to Canelo Alvarez. I think he's making more money than Gervonta Tank Davis. And yet Mike Tyson is taking less. So Del Media says, that's what we all want. Tyson by KO. City Syndicate says, I'm as fat as Jake. Well, I'm softer than him around the midsection. But whatever he did putting on the weight,
it's not good. It's not good. Here's the thing. He already has a gas tank issue, Jake Paul. And yeah, the rounds are 2-minute rounds and everything, but that's what, because the benefits Jake Paul. But him looking like that, his move, it's going to affect his movement. It's going to affect a lot of things. And I think Tyson, and he's never fought like that. I think Tyson's going to catch him. It's not a matter if he catches him, it's when he catches him. And when he catches him, I think you may see Jake Paul go down.
Yeah, I definitely think that he still has enough power. In fact, Roy Jones Jr. today came out and said that Mike Tyson, when he fought Mike Tyson at exhibition that did extremely well, he said that's the most devastating puncher he's ever fought. And that was in an exhibition. Car Shop Reality says it's a generational fight. Real or not, I'm Gen X. So am I, by the way. Shout out to all the Gen X. And he's Gen Z. and Gen Z is they're nothing like Gen X. Come on now.
I am gonna have to say something, because tell you the truth, this adds on to the disgraceful acts of boxing. Really, Jake Paul wants to fight a 58-year-old legend.
You know what I haven't heard, Drew? I haven't heard shit about sales. Everybody knows we love football here. I know you guys all love football. I saw some comments about the Commanders, easy money. Damn, Commanders came up short this week, though, huh?
I told you guys. The Commanders.
That was a really good game. There's a lot of really good games this weekend. We'll get to that on our football show. But how are ticket sales at Arlington, Texas stadium, the Dallas Cowboys stadiums? Because they was talking about making changes to the rules again at the last minute as of 2 weeks ago because ticket sales were poor. Usually boxing media is quick to report and be like, look at all these empty seats. Look at all these unsold seats. Canelo Alvarez sold 67,000 records. Canelo Alvarez holds the record at that exact stadium for the most amount of seats sold, 67,000. Anybody know? Anybody have a clue how ticket sales are doing? And what would be your entrance for you to go? If they said, hey, we got $15 seats, nosebleeds, would you go?
Fuck no.
Come on, if I lived near the stadium, I would definitely entertain seats that cheap. Really quickly, guys, good friend of the show, Lucas Badi, who is promoted by Phil LaGreco. Drew, he's 17-0. I said he's in contention for knockout of the year. He knocked out their MVPs. They got this kid named H2O Silva from Los Angeles.
H2O.
He got knocked out into oblivion. His fighter, the fight he was going to fight, that guy pulled out with an injury. So he's going to be fighting a Mexican guy named Armando Casamonica, who's 14-0. with just 3 knockouts. But he is undefeated. But it's a last-minute replacement, undefeated. But he will be on the card, and hopefully after this fight is done, we can have him back on the show. And shout out to him and Phil LaGreco. He will most likely be on the YouTube. Bruce Carrington, I mentioned him, Bruce Carrington. He'll be on the YouTube card, and I believe Lucas Badi will also be on the free YouTube portion of the fight Friday. Expect those fights to start around 3 o'clock. Sin City Syndicate says $37 tickets. SeatGeeks looks like it will be sold out. All right. Yeah, shit. We'll see how well it does. Again, they're expecting 20 million people. Drop your prediction right now. 1 for Mike Tyson, 2 for Jake Paul. I'm putting in 1 right here. And Card Shop says Cowboy Stadium has a standing room only section for cheap. Oh, shit. Imagine that. They should probably do that for the Raiders, considering Las Vegas Raiders don't sell so many seats to their own fan base. Ouch. Ouch. We got two. Jake Paul. A couple people for Jake Paul. Shit. Really quickly, before we move on to Latino night, in the world of super middleweights, we just saw this guy at the bottom here, Macumbi. My friend Francisco Esparza of Las Vegas was in his corner as his cut man. Apparently, Drew, they have ordered for the IBF title eliminator, Christian and Billy to fight Diego Pacheco. But then they also said that they're willing to entertain Macumbi versus Diego Pacheco. So I don't know which one of these two fights is going to be made. But eventually, all roads lead to Canelo Alvarez. So if you guys are wondering if Canelo will ever fight a live pulse, I think it's going to be the winner of Christian and Billy versus Diego Pacheco. This is a very interesting fight the IBF is mandating. Do you like this fight?
I like it. I like it a lot.
The Macumbi one, I don't know. Macumbi versus Edgar Berlanga.
I think Macumbi beats Edgar Berlanga.
Okay, well, if he doesn't get a shot, I don't think he beats Diego Pacheco. If he didn't beat Caleb Plant, I don't think he beats Christian and Billy. I like Macumbi. I'd like to see him get a nice little payday. And, Edgar Berlanga is looking to fight somebody in Puerto Rico. Shout out to SB joining us in the chat. Logan Little, shout out to you. He's new in the chat. He says 1 for Mike Tyson. That's what I'm saying. Mike Tyson, even at 58, I think he wins. Let's move on to the last subject of the night. Latino night in Saudi Arabia. Oscar De La Hoya, Golden Boy, Mr. Henderson, California, my ass. He's putting on a fight with Turki Al-Sheikh. And if you didn't hear, the Ring magazine, big news that I have not brought forward, Drew. Turki Al-Sheikh and Saudi Arabia have bought the Ring magazine. How many writers do we know that write for Ring magazine? Now, I'm wondering, do they all have job security? Drew, apparently, Turki Al-Sheikh says, we bringing the magazine back. Nobody buys magazines anymore. I don't see magazines. The only place I see a magazine is at the dentist's office. He says, we are bringing it back. You could subscribe, and we're going to fucking send you a real edition of the Ring magazine. I like that. There's a lot of people pissed off that the Saudis are going to own Ring magazine. Do you got a problem with it?
Nah, if it's for the better of the sport, no. But, I don't know. This is an okay card. And I think I could see maybe, this is what I would do. If I was betting on this card, I would bet on Bill Smith. I'll bet on Barbosa. I'll bet on Tevin Farmer, to pull an upset. And I would put that on a parlay, because I could particularly see William Smith beat Zotto. I could also see Tevin Farmer from the prime Tevin Farmer come back for one night and outclass William Zepeda.
Interesting.
On a Barbosa, I'm gonna look at it like this. I think Jose Ramirez is shit.
But what about the fact that Barbosa Jr. got a gift decision? And did we just shout out to SB? Oh my God, dropping some super chat love. Thank you so much, SB. They've been supporting us for the longest now, dropping a $10 super chat or whatever it is. You don't know how much we appreciate you. We all appreciate everyone who's written with the shoe shine this entire time. Thank you so much. Drew, you were saying?
Barbosa did get a gift decision. I thought he lost to the Irishman last time. But I don't think Jose Ramirez is that good.
You don't think he's that good today or ever was? Because he was a unified champion at 140 pounds.
Yeah, but let's look at it like this. His best win is against Booker. His best win on his career.
And he took a savage loss against the Englishman, the Scottish man, when they had their undisputed fight.
Yeah, but his best win was Booker. Last guy before was Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor whipped his ass. But let's look at it like this. I look at it like this, Dave. I really think Barbosa outboxes him. Beryl Smith, I think he's more game than people think he is. And I think Zotto is in for a fight. Now, I don't know if you've been following Matchroom versus potential Golden Boy 5-on-5 and the matchups. I'm gonna tell you this right now, Dave. Matchroom will sweep that. Will sweep that 5-on-5. I think Boots knocks out Ryan Garcia. I think Majimov gets a decision over Virgil Ortiz. I think Okataya stops Zotto.
I'm glad you brought that up, Drew. This is a unification matchup, guys. Okay, let's quickly bring up Zurdo. If you're not familiar with Zurdo Ramirez, he was a 168-pound champion. At light heavyweight, he got absolutely annihilated. He looked awful. Dimitri Bivol made him look like a complete bum. And you had to start thinking, well, Zurdo Ramirez, 6'2", 6'3", humongous for 168. He was a world champ. If he can't beat guys at 175, is his career over? He jumps up to 200 pounds. Naturally, he's 6'3". I'm 5'11" and way over 200 fucking pounds. He has success. He wins a world title. And now he finds himself in a position to unify against a UK cruiserweight champion, William Smith. And Drew, you say Opataya. If you don't know who the Australian is, he's absolutely... If he could get the unifications, he wipes out the cruiserweight division. He would make mincemeat of Jake Paul. Jake Paul doesn't want any real cruiserweight action. When he fought Fury, a real boxer, a real cruiserweight, he lost. Someone's walking away with 2 belts, Drew. Someone's walking away with 2 belts.
Tommy Fury was really a light heavyweight moving up.
Wow.
So let's look at.
I thought he was a natural cruiserweight.
He fought at 175 his whole career. That was the first fight at 200 pounds for time. That was the first fight at cruiserweight for Tommy Fury. So let's look at it like this. Jake Paul will not fight a boxer, a young boxer that has some type of skill. Unless they can find a way to rig it. Point blank, I don't give a fuck how anybody thinks, what anybody says about it. It's the fucking goddamn truth, and that's how it is.
Drew, there's actually some great opportunities here for a parlay, guys. If you're on DraftKings or one of the betting apps, this is a great parlay Saturday night. It's apparently it's going to start at 5 o'clock Eastern time, so 2 o'clock for us on the West Coast here, this fight in Saudi Arabia. I think Zurdo Ramirez is going to walk away the unified champion, and if he has the balls to ask for the fight against Jai Opataya of Australia, if he has the balls, I'm already hearing from Oscar De La Hoya in interviews that he's saying they would like to offer Usyk to come down to face him. Come on, Usyk they're going to offer, hey, Usyk, do you want to come back to cruiserweight and fight Zurdo? He has 2 belts. Would you like to? Come on, bro. You got to fight Jai. Whoever wins this fight has to fight Jai Opataya.
Why would he do that?
Because they just want big money. They don't actually want to fight somebody that might fucking put him in the hospital.
But the thing is, Usyk will put him in the hospital.
Well, I mean, at least it's Usyk, right? At least it's a big name, a bigger name, a superstar name.
Here's the thing right now. This is the other thing why I crush. I think Oscar's matchmaking lately has been really sour. He's only making showcase fights. Now he's signed with Toki now. He's got to start putting on better fights. Because now, here's the thing.
Whoa, Drew froze. Okay, now you're unfrozen.
This is why boxing is in the stage that it's in. When he brags about not being like PBC. But he's doing the same practices, Dave, as PBC. And that's something that has to be called out on. Because I look at it, this is an average good card.
I like this card.
But
I can't really pick this shit. I'm gonna be honest with you, Drew. Let's first of all, you got Barboza Jr. winning the Ramirez fight. Barboza's coming off looking very blah and almost getting a gift decision against the Irishman he just fought. Jose Ramirez, he's been kind of fighting soft touches, washed up people. Jose Ramirez, a splendid guy from Fresno, California, Avino, California. I actually met his family when he fought Josh Taylor in the hallways of the Virgin Hotel Casino. His family was cool AF Mexicanos. Barboza Jr.'s been on our show, and they have bad blood, Drew, because when they were at ESPN, Bob would not let Barboza Jr. anywhere near a title opportunity. And now they both find themselves on the opposite side of the street under Oscar De La Hoya. Now they're no longer with Bob. Now they're finally going to fight each other. Who wants it more?
I think Barboza wants this more because this could lead to him getting a title shot.
Now, Sims Jr. is a guy who I have reservations, not about his boxing skill set, but Duarte can crack really hard. In fact, Ryan Garcia knocked out Oscar Duarte immediately after that fight. Ryan Garcia was interviewed and saying, I wouldn't be surprised if Duarte was on steroids because I never been hit so hard. Ryan Garcia knocked out Duarte, but he said Duarte cracked harder than almost everyone he's been in there with. This fight, Duarte, he's had some good wins after Ryan Garcia. This is a pick'em fight. Does Sims stick to a game plan and outbox him? Williams of Peta versus Tevin Farmer. You might want to dismiss Tevin Farmer, but Tevin Farmer, in my opinion, he beat Raymond Murataya, another contender at lightweight that, I listed all these great fighters at lightweight and skipped Murataya when I shouldn't have. Murataya is easily a top 3 contender in the lightweight division. Farmer, in my opinion, beat him. I was there. I'm like, wow. I didn't think Farmer was going to give him work like that. If that same Farmer shows up, Williams Zepeda is going to potentially go the distance. I don't see how he gets a stoppage but all depends.
I think Tevin Farmer shows up. I think, I don't know. I think Williams Zepeda, here's the thing with Williams Zepeda. Volume, punching is his strong suit. And I think the thing that beats it is timing. If Tevin Farmer can time him and nail shots and slow down that volume.
But Drew, it's going to be very hard to time Williams Zepeda, who still averages over 90 punches per round, some of the most punches thrown in any division. It's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard. I'm just going to give my parlay right here. It's probably going to be inaccurate. I think there's going to be all kinds of variables in this card. Zurdo walks away with the win. Barboza Jr., I think Ramirez's ring experience, I think he's going to best him here in a decision. I'm going to go with Jose Ramirez of Fresno, California. I think Duarte Jr. is going to come away stopping Sims Jr. I think the accumulation of punches is going to get to him. Tevin Farmer gives a very spirited performance, but gets hurt in the Williams Zepeda fight. I got Williams Zepeda either by stoppage or late stoppage or decision. And I won't even comment on the Collazo fight. The hell with that.
All right, so I'll do my parlay. I think Bellum Smith will win by decision. I think Barboza Jr. wins by decision. Sims Jr., I think, wins by knockout. I think Tevin Farmer shows up and wins by decision. And I'm picking Collazo to win.
Wow. Upset. That would be Tevin Farmer upset. Williams Zepeda would shake that lightweight division. He is a former world champion. That would really send a shockwave through that lightweight division. Suddenly, that would catapult him to be the number one for just about everybody. That is a dramatic pick. I'll be really curious if Tevin Farmer can do the unthinkable and pull off that upset.
I look at it like this. Out of all the challenge, like the big name challengers that aren't champions in that division, I think the weakest one, you can put a case in that the weakest guy could be between Keyshawn Davis or Williams Zepeda. that are the most beatable.
Hmm.
I really think William Zepeda is beatable. I think Keyshawn Davis is beatable. And I think with the white guy in there with those two, they beat them easily.
Curious if it'd be somebody like Andy Cruz, the Cuban gold medalist. Curious.
I look at it like this, and I talk to people, and I look at it like this.
Sorry, Drew, I had to laugh. Oh, lazy eye ain't doing it. Yeah, Tevin Farmer. Every time we watch Tevin Farmer, my wife goes, "Whoa, what's going on with it with this eye?"
I can really see it as William Zepeda. He's eventually going to get timed, and if he gets timed enough, he's a sitting duck.
Drew, he's been timed. I'll just say it. I love William Zepeda, but maybe 5 or 6 fights ago, when people weren't even paying attention to him, an unknown Mexican fighter caught him in round 1 or round 2 and put him on his feet. And so William Zepeda's been caught.
And you see the volume went down, and that the volume punches went down in that fight.
Yeah, the right guy, the right person can time anybody. Just like Lucas Body is on this card on Friday night. Lucas Body was getting worked, but he was counting on his timing coming in clutch, and he knew he had the power to change that fight, and he did. He knocked him out cold. So, man, Drew, it's been a great show. It's 9 o'clock. I know it's midnight. I have to run. It's midnight on the East Coast. It's been a really good show. Let me send thank you to everyone that's been supporting us, showing us love, dropping the super chats. Now we are monetized. You can do that. We're going to be doing the membership thing. If you just want to help the channel, just put our channel on one of your laptops or devices and just let my channel play, because we're actually a few hundred hours away from full monetization. When I say full monetization, if you don't know, we're eligible for super chats and memberships, but we're about to get paid for every episode. See, I don't really do any copyright material, so every single podcast, every single thing we do, I try to make sure it's going to be monetized. So just put us on that, and you'll help us out, because we'll be getting paid just for you watching the content. Also, we got vlogs on this channel. I appreciate everybody. Shout out to SB for that $10 super chat today. Drew, great weekend ahead. A lot of football talk too. Congratulations to your team. Congratulations to the Niners. Any final words?
Gotta say it, man. Come on, Dave. We gotta say it.
Say what?
Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory. Fly, Eagles, fight on a touchdown. 1, 2, 3.
Hey, Drew. This is a funny way to end the show. If everybody's still listening, make sure you hit that thumbs up. So I was on another channel, a sports channel, apparently a Denver Broncos fan, because they played the Chiefs this weekend, right? Well, he bet his Chiefs friend that, he was so emphatic that the Denver Broncos would beat the Chiefs that he bet that his wife would blow the Chiefs fan. Yep. Apparently the wife wasn't told about the wager. You might want to run it by your wife before you promise blowjobs from your wife. All right. I'm Dave in the 702, Shoeshine Boxing. Yeah, exactly. If you're watching till the very end, drop it in the comments who you think is going to win, Mike Tyson or Jake Paul. We'll see you next Monday for the Shoeshine, and later this week for football talk right here on, Tailgate Talk, I think Wednesday night. Peace out, everybody.